everybody? I am Drew Duncan, and this is the Sync 57 Sports Show. Plenty to get to today. Obviously, we're going to be talking about Tom Brady and his rant, and we're going to be looking at the Giants taking on the Ravens, and of course, the Chiefs and Bills game, and it lived up to the hype. Anybody who watched that game knows that they watched a damn good game of football. It had everything in it that you wanted. It had controversy. It had great play from both quarterbacks. It had some downplay from both quarterbacks. It had some really good defense in there. It had dramatic moments. So obviously there's going to be a lot to discuss with that as well. All right, let's get into it. That Tom Brady's rant, look, if I'm Brady, I'm probably pissed off too. If I'm just being very honest with you here, I don't think that Brady acted out of the ordinary. Look, the Bucs are 3-3 right now. They lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who, by the way, I predicted that they would lose that game, right? A then 1-4 Steelers football team, who, by the way, were playing with a quarterback that is a rookie quarterback. Then on top of that, he gets hurt. The guy that he replaced, Trubisky, who got benched for Pickett, comes in and goes, 9 out of 12 or something to that effect, gets a touchdown on you, and you lose. You lose because in big situations, your offensive line was not able to protect you, and that's who Brady went after, was the offensive line. They couldn't score once they got inside the red zone. They had to settle for field goals the whole game. They didn't score until it was very late into the fourth quarters when they finally got 6. Then they failed the 2-point conversion. I mean, it was like watching them when they played Green Bay all over again. Yeah, Brady got sacked a couple of times in that game. He's not used to losing like this. But they're also really honestly right now not better than the teams that they're facing. They're certainly not better coached than the teams that they are facing. Like I said, I would take Mike Tomlin as my head football coach any day of the week. You've got Pitt coming into this game basically as an underdog. I understand that they're at home, but what have they done? They won week 1 against the Cincinnati Bengals, which at the time looked like a big win, but right now Cincinnati's a 500 football team. And even then, that was a sloppy, horrible game of football to watch for everybody. And they didn't seal the deal until right at the end of overtime, when they finally got that field goal. The Bucs have just not looked good. Brady got sacked on a 3rd and goal. They couldn't run the football while they were down there. When all is said and done, he was right to be upset. And yeah, sure, we can give credit to the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. That's our job. That's our job as fans. That's our job as journalists. That's our job as whomever. But that's not Tom Brady's job. His job is to make everybody around him play a little bit better. His job is to hold his guys accountable. So let's not all freak out on Tom Brady, okay? He's a crybaby. He's a winner. He's competitive. And please do not compare this to the Anderson situation that we saw with the Carolina Panthers. That was a coaching decision. For whatever conversation was going on there, that was a coaching decision. And folks, I don't know if you know this or not, but clout is a thing. And Tom Brady has been to 10 Super Bowls. He has won 7 of them. How many times has Brady ever even missed the playoffs in his career? Go ahead, I'll wait. Clout's a thing. So when the offensive line coach shuts his mouth because Tom Brady goes over there to read his offensive line the right act, you're damn right there's a reason for that. And they all stopped exactly what they were doing, and they all immediately looked at Tom Brady. They were locked in. Brady has clout for a reason. In the eyes of many, he's the greatest quarterback to ever play the game of football. Now, I know that a lot of people that are going to listen to this, they're going to talk about the scandals and the cheating and the yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to get into any of that right now. It is all such side note at this point. The fact of the matter is, Brady is where he is because he is a damn good quarterback. Oh, man, he just had another super team around him. Really? Is that why when they had Jameis Winston, they didn't even make the playoffs the year before? And with basically the same football team, Brady takes him to the Super Bowl They go 7-5. They lose that game against Kansas City in the regular season. They don't lose another game the rest of the way, and then they demolish KC in the Super Bowl. Really? Is that why? Get out of here. The fact of what I'm saying is you could be mad at Brady all you want to, but I'm not going to be. I'm not going to call him a crybaby. I'm not going to call him a whiner. I'm not going to compare it to other situations because it's just not the same thing most of the time. I don't disparage any quarterback for lighting a fire under their team's ass. Your job is to make everybody around you better, to hold everybody accountable, especially the offensive line. Those are your guys. When it all boils down to it, the line is your guys. And I know lineman, man, we protect him, yeah? And if you're not doing your job, if you're missing assignments, you're not hitting blocks. Once we're inside the red zone, you're not able to recognize blitzes. You're not hearing my audibles. You're not, doing what you're supposed to when I'm making checks at the line of scrimmage, whatever the case may be. If you're not listening to me, we're not doing what we're supposed to do, then you're damn right I'm getting in your ass. And that's exactly what Tom Brady did. And there's nothing wrong with it. I would expect the same from Lamar Jackson. I would expect the same from Peyton Manning. And we saw it with Peyton Manning. Any quarterback who's worth their salt and who has that type of clout understands their role. And sometimes you have to be that guy. And it's going to be a focal point because he is Tom Brady. All right? So that's about all I got to say to that. Okay? Giants, Ravens. Boy, I was ready to brag. Talked about how good Lamar is. Tired of people saying he's overrated. Tired of the talk. I think they're going to beat the Giants on Sunday. Wrong. Now, I don't think Lamar's overrated. He did make some bad plays, obviously, towards the end of the game. But you got to give credit to the Giants. They played a full 4-quarter game of football. Lamar and the Ravens sputtered. And it was the Giants, man. They made the plays on defense and offense that were needed. They won because in the last 7 minutes, they outplayed, out-hustled, and outsmarted the Ravens. Period. Right? You had the fumble by Lamar that could have been picked back up by the Ravens, but the Giants players just refused to give up on that play. They absolutely refused to give up on that play. So right there, they out-hustled them. They outsmarted them on the interception. They were playing intelligent football. And then, of course, offensively, Saquon Barkley just took over the football game. I mean, that's kind of a point-blank situation. They did what they needed to do at the end of the day to win that football game. And to some degree now, I will say the Giants have earned my respect. I don't care what anybody says. This Baltimore Ravens team is a good football team. They've had a difficult schedule so far. The offense has been playing hit and miss. There were some drop passes in that game. Lamar has been a one-man show this season. And I know that a lot of people are going to look and nitpick all of his mistakes. But the bottom line is he is a damn good quarterback. I would take him on my team. He leads that team in rushing. He's a hell of a passer. He's got the capability of throwing the deep ball. We've finally seen it this season. But the Giants just made the plays at the end of the game that they needed to win. It's as simple as that. And they deserved to win the football game the way that they played at the end. They stayed in it. They hung around. Baltimore couldn't put them away. And at the end of the game, in the last 7 minutes, they just kept with it. They didn't get down. They didn't let make plays to beat themselves. They didn't have any real, bad penalties or anything like that in the last few minutes of that football game. They just kept coming at you. That is a symptom of coaching. That is a symptom of culture. That is a symptom of team effort. Guys just refused to give up, man. They showed who they were. They showed who they were. Huge win for the Giants. Not only because they faced a team that I believe was better than them, but the comeback, the never giving up. Obviously, you don't want to win games like that week in and week out, right? But you get it done. And so from now on, in other big game situations, when you get down a little bit, you have something to reflect on. You have motivation. You can say, hey, man, look back at this moment. This is what we did. This is what we accomplished. We can get it done. Let's keep our heads up. Let's keep playing. Let's keep fighting. You're able to talk to each other like that now because you did it. You played mediocre football for 3.5 quarters. Then you played superior football for the last 7 minutes. You got it done. That's all that really matters. All right. Chiefs, Bills, man, hell of a game. Right? And it started out kind of crazy. Obviously, we had back-to-back turnovers. You had Josh Allen with the fumble. You had Patrick Mahomes with the interception in the end zone, errant throw. And then from there, you just kind of had a good mix of offense and defense, right? Allen started to struggle, but then at the end of the half, he extends a play, okay? Then he gets it out, so they get a first down when they're backed up on their own, 1-2 yard line, right? Then Diggs with a hell of a catch on that drive with 2 defenders on top of him. And then he hits Gabe Davis, does Allen, on just a beautiful throw against the blitz, which, by the way, up to that point, he had been 0 for 8 against blitz throws. But then they left Mahomes with 9 seconds left, and Butker kicks a 62-yard field goal. So now we see both offense start to take shape. But the thing is, though, is the story of this game is ultimately going to be the Bills' defense. And it was the story of this game coming in. Because we saw it again, right? 13 seconds left. The playoff game, we've all talked about it ad nauseum. Then you get 9 seconds left. They get it down. Butker hits a hell of a kick. And by the way, he misses one later, which probably did in some way affect the overall outcome of that football game. But the Chiefs were just under duress that entire game. Von Miller and company was in there. I think Von had a couple of sacks, a lot of pressures. Hell, in the first half alone, they sacked Mahomes twice, forced an interception. They ended up forcing 2 interceptions on the day. And then on top of that, in the first half alone, they knocked him down 6 times. They were in his face, wearing him down, playing competitive football. And finally, Allen and company, they get down, they score, and the defense finally makes a stop. And there was a lot more time left. There was 1:04. You can't tell me that if you were watching that football game, you didn't think to myself, well, damn, if he had 13 seconds and he had 9, imagine what this guy's going to do with 1:04. Allen led his team down. They scored again. He played great football. He's leaping over guys. He's running around with his legs. He's directing traffic the whole time. He's telling guys where to go. He's putting the ball in places you don't think a ball can go, right? Like that throw that he made to Diggs at the end of the first half, right in between 2 defenders. He made the plays happen. I know Chiefs fan is going to complain about the officiating in that game again, and I understand, okay? At this point, you're getting tired of it. Just 6 days prior to this game, you had a blatant roughing the passer call that shouldn't have been called. We're all aware of that. Then you had the offensive pass interference call against Kelsey, which I thought was a bad call and did affect that drive. It ultimately killed it. But let's not forget. That should have been tripping on Josh Allen. Also should have been holding on his tackle there. So really should have been offsetting penalties. We don't know what would have happened if they would have called both flags. But there also should have been a face mask against Kansas City right on that drive when it was, they got to 4th down and they finally converted a 4th down. Okay. So I saw a couple of holding calls on Von Miller that were not called. All right, and I'm talking about from the offensive line trying to stop Von Miller. There were guys grabbing at his arm, grabbing at his hand, grabbing at his jersey. There were some plays that were missed by the officials, and I'm sitting there watching like, this is all blatant stuff. What the hell is going on this week? It went from not making the right call to just not calling any damn thing. So look, Chiefs fan, while you're going to be upset about it, and I get it, I really do. And I'm not saying that offensive pass interference did not kill that drive, because it definitely did. It does not mean that there were calls that did not go the other way. Okay? So in terms of missed calls by the officials. All right, the bottom line is it was a hard-fought game between two really damn good teams, two really damn good quarterbacks, and two defenses that honestly I think, at least with the Chiefs, have stunned a lot of people to this point in the season. They're a little bit better, I think, than we give them credit for. I know the stat sheet isn't necessarily going to show it, but they've created some turnovers, and they've put their team in good positions. And, they made some stops on fourth down, right? At midfield, they make a stop on fourth down that should have been basically a gimme by from the Bills, and the Chiefs defense stopped them. So you've got a better defense than you think. Okay. You just faced a really, really good quarterback, a very good receiving core, and a team that just was not going to lose this game. They are sick and tired of hearing about Patrick Mahomes and how damn good he is and how they can't stop him when there's time left. I think the defense took this game personally. And that is why they went after Mahomes the way that they did. And it was ultimately the pressure by Von Miller at the end of that game that forced another bad throw. They cut in front of it. They get their second turnover of the game from Patrick Mahomes, and they end it. They finally stopped Mahomes in a situation to where the Chiefs definitely could have drove down and scored and won. Nobody in their right mind thinks to themselves, Patrick Mahomes has only got a minute and 4 left. This game is over. The Bills finally made a play. Today is about their defense. As good as Josh Allen was, okay, even though there was that little skirt there where he played horrendous football and that Chiefs defense was in his face, he eventually settled back down and made it happen. But it is the defense that ultimately won that game for them. You force those turnovers, you hold them to points. That's how you win games. Especially when you're playing against an offense like the Chiefs, right? That's how you're going to get it done. It's pretty simple. All right, we're not talking quantum physics here, and I know it's a lot easier said than done. The Chiefs' offense is that good. Patrick Mahomes is that guy. I get it, all right? But what I'm saying is they took it personal today. Everybody on that team, Josh Allen, I get it. He's the star of the show. But, man, that defense showed up. And exactly in the moments that they needed to. It is what it is. Sorry about that offensive pass interference call, Kansas City Chief fan. But like I said, a lot of missed calls went your way. Definitely went your way. I saw holding a few times on Von Miller. A clear face mask that was not called. Tripping. Okay? Come on. Regardless, hell of a game. We'll be looking forward to part 2 of that, obviously, probably in the playoffs. We're probably going to see it again. It is becoming a rivalry, and it's becoming a fun rivalry to watch. As long as we keep getting games like that, I could watch Buffalo and KC play 3 times a year, honestly. All right. Quick recap here. Buffalo's defense, story of the day to me. I know everybody's going to give credit to Josh Allen, and they should. But that defense, story of the game. And, of course, yes, obviously Allen and company doing what they needed to do at the end of the first half. They drive down. They get points on the board. Way backed up. 3rd and 13, they convert. Huge play. Allen with the guy right in his face making that throw. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve his share of the credit. What I'm saying is the defense showed up and forced a couple of turnovers, and that's how they ultimately won that game, especially at the end. All right, Tom Brady, I'm not going to freak out about it. I'm not going to call him a crybaby or a whiner. I'm going to call him a winner because it's exactly what he is. You don't go to 10 Super Bowls. You don't win 7 of them because you're not. I don't care what anybody has to say. If you want to argue with me, you go right on ahead. But this is one of the few times where I can tell you right now, I'm really not backing off. Giants, Ravens. For the time being, the Giants are in my respect, man. I really thought, this team isn't that good. Baltimore is better than you think. Lamar's a hell of a quarterback, and at the end of the game, they bottled him up. They forced some turnovers, and they took over. And they had every right to win that football game because they never got so far out of it that they couldn't get back into it. They rallied together as a team. They played great football, and that's how they won the game. They just never gave up. Never, not once. And that's what football's all about, right? Never quitting. So there's that. All right, everybody, I am Drew Duncan. This is the St. 57 Sports Show. And as always, stay safe and take care of yourselves.